Excellent, excellent. So actually, we are starting. Cesar, first of all, welcome. Welcome. It's absolute pleasure to have you as a guest. I'm really honored for you to accepting invitation, and great to have you here. Really, thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
And
It is my pleasure, Marco.
Cesar, it's let me start like this. It's very rare. I know that you're a humble guy, but now listen. It's very rare to it's very rare to have a person uh, about whom everyone who worked with that person has only nice things to say, and who is respected across countries and geographies. And we are very interested actually to hear how you have done that, how you went through your life, so that you will be so respected and always considered as a good colleague and a good leader. And today, our idea is to speak about what does it take to be a good leader, how to be a good leader, but it is very vague, very wide topic. So let us start actually with overview of your career. So how come that you became Cesar Garcia that you are today? So how you started and how you moved?
Wow, Marco. This is a. I think some people I see the list here, they probably be tired of hearing this story several times, but I never tired to say because this was really a pleasure. First of all, thank you once again for the invitation. It's really a pleasure to be here, and also to the audience. This is the first time doing this kind of lives, so thank you very much as well for all of those who are attending. It's really a great honor to be with all of you. Okay, about myself. Almost 30 years already on the road, like working for different companies. Mostly, as you know, I am Brazilian. I was born in São Paulo. It's a big city with 12 million people. So everything we say there is in big scale. If you talk about agglomeration, it's 20 million people. So yes, um, I start working banks, basically working with network. So that's where I start my 10 years of career. The first 10 years, at that time I know threat management, or today it's called cybersecurity. They have this every 2 years. I see some new fancy name.
Yes.
It was a luxury for most companies, and yeah, I got interested in that, and that's exactly where I found myself first of all as an engineer, as a technician. So I was working for Computer Associates, later for almost 10 years, where I managed to have amazing friends and to cooperate with great professionals. Later, because of this knowledge, traveling already, I was having different opportunities, and because of this knowledge, there was opportunity to come to Poland. This was 2009, so we are thinking already to move, but remember that until then, I was working mostly as an engineer, so as an
Mm.
individual contributor. I never really thought to work with people. There was not this. I was not worried about that. And coming to Poland then was another big transformation in my life. Big transformation because, of course, I had to build a team. I had to create my first team that was in ATL in Krakow. It was very nice, great experience. Later, I moved to IBM, where things moved even more. I get to know you, including Marco, there, and
we
yeah,
were
it
colleagues.
was yes, that was amazing experience as well. Amazing experience because we get people from all around the world work in a huge environment, and there I grew it up a lot. And finally, of course, I moved on. I went to Kai again, and now I'm in Smith and Nephew, where I'm also helping to with the service management. So yeah, that's how I build my career, if I can summarize.
That's there are so many things to unpack there, right? So
Yep.
tell me first, if we go back to Brazil, I think actually maybe to set a scene differently. We spoke on some of our previous webinars about differences in cultures, different working cultures, and I think that you are bringing that experience with you. So if you would we will go back also to your engineering experience. I know that you are actually very proud of it, so it's it is very important. But how you would compare working culture or working attitudes in Brazil, in Sao Paulo, so huge conglomeration, with what you see in Poland, in several cities right now? How you would, what are the main differences from your point of view, or similarities, by the way?
Um, let's start from one thing. When moving to Eastern Europe, when
Hmm.
checking Poland and all these countries, they are today in what like 10 years. Uh, all that we live here when it comes to outsourcing, when it comes to all this experience
Mm.
of building, of having all these BPOs placing here, there what we had this already in Brazil. So that's the biggest
All right.
difference. So we live at that. I'm not saying that we are more mature in this aspect, but yes, we had all this experience before. So when moving
Mm.
to Poland back in 2009, there were only few companies investing in Poland or doing their outsource here in the country. So that was a different challenge because we had several people from different parts of the Europe, different parts of the world coming to Poland, trying to understand. So it was a new market, was a new way to manage. And moreover, we have a new kind of professional because of generation, because of study background, and so on. So if we compare, we let's say that in historically we are 10 years behind, but professionally is something totally different. Here I feel it's much more multicultural because it's ready really um, to receive more people from all around the world because of the language. We don't have the
Hmm.
barrier of the language. Of course, I don't speak Polish. I'm talking about the English itself. Something that's because of the continental size of Brazil, this is not common. So we have a country that's a continent. So it's very different in this aspect.
That's very interesting, actually. I didn't expect that angle, actually. Very very interesting. And when you compare how you work with the people, right? How you work with your
Hmm.
team, what is expected from your manager, for example. So in Brazil, you were an engineer. You probably had your own manager. So what you expected from your manager? What is the managerial culture there, and how you would compare it what you see here in Poland right now?
Well, I have to be very respectful because I had a great leaders in the past. However, also I see that the way of managing evolved. The way of
Mm.
doing this, having this relationship, it evolved as well. We had only few styles of leadership at this time. We had
Mm.
not. It was not so popular or so common to touch something about servant leadership, or
Okay.
we had this still this autocratic leader that was the
Mm.
common stuff. That's the old school, but this evolved. We had a different schools, we have different approach, and I believe Brazil also is in the same level today. But if I compare, it's just about the comparison of generation. So I came
Okay.
from a generation where being autocratic was the common language. However, I know this evolved. It came to the democratic. We have today very popular, I mean, very popular, but very difficult to be implemented. To be a servant leader. So yeah, that's the way I'll see that. I'll talk more about generation itself.
Interesting. And coming back again to your start of your career when you have been
Hmm.
engineer, how that technical knowledge, technical expertise helped you later to understand your teams when you have been in service delivery now as a first line manager or second line manager. How that help you, if helped you at all?
You know, it helped, Marco. Uh, to be honest, when moving here, I think was the biggest differential because you imagine um, when I arrived in Poland, I had a team, a multicultural team. We had to get
Mm.
people. It was my first team. We had 25 people, however, with people from 10 different countries in the world, and they had different backgrounds. Most of them, they only knew the language, so
Mm.
they were here because they knew like Italian, French, German, and so on. So somehow I had to use all the background to teach them, to make them
Mm.
understand technically how to progress. If not teach, some of them, of course, they came with a strong background, but at least to leverage what was expected, which kind of a customer experience we have to provide. So That was something that was a transformation, and that was something that maybe I could use from the past and apply in the nowadays. If you ask, okay, during the years, I had to be very humble to evolve because, when it comes to technology, I used to say yes. I was not amazing because I have some. I was a good cybersecurity engineer. Today is the name. However, I don't dare to tell this today, because I know 2 years out of this field, you get
Mm.
totally outdated. You get to know about the technologies, etc., but you're no longer in this level.
Yeah,
So yes, I could use it, but to some extent.
you understand these fundamentals of a technology and how things work and what are the protocols, right? But then you probably forgot your line comments, right? And how to configure things.
Yes, yeah, of course, yes. Nobody would dare to give me anything to configure. That's for sure.
Absolutely. And what is interesting now, again, continuing on what you said that your first team was when you came to Poland was 25 people from 10 different countries. So,
Yes,
what was your approach to that diversity, right? So, how you wanted to understand everyone? What were your basic to do that?
Marco, this is a good question. And here again, I have to be always very humble. I came without any background of management. I had no school of how to manage people or how to be what's so-called leader today. I had not this school. So it was extremely challenging because first of all, I was used to be a lone wolf. So I was alone doing my
Mm.
stuff. And the only understanding I had of leading people, first of all, is based in my past experience, what I wouldn't like to have repeated. Things that maybe uh, motivated me, I was trying to use the same, and things as well that were hurting me as well, I was trying to avoid. So, of course, the
Mm.
base of everything is respect. And coming to that, I would say, of course, I did many mistakes, and I came to this first line of being like a leader that was following this democratic, this paternalist, and so on. But I could, at some moment, of course, I had to evolve and start to use other different styles of leadership. But in the beginning, I had only to use my personal experience rather than using any kind of a managerial background or managerial study or something in this matter.
But maybe that goes very center of leadership, I guess. So when you have been self-aware,
Mhm.
respecting people, and actually just acknowledge that actually you don't know things, right?
It's correct. You have to be. It's a continuous exercise of trying to be self-aware, of trying to identify your mistakes and try to identify the things you don't know. Otherwise, you don't evolve.
That I think on that line we would be continuing, I guess, throughout our webcast. So it's often people ask me what is the right degree to have, right? What is the right education to have? Is this MBA useful? Is this certification useful? So what exam I should pass to be a good manager, right? So actually maybe just in that sense, just maybe to skip directly to one question, and that can be answered on many different ways. But from your point of view, can leadership be learned, whatever that means? So maybe what leadership is for you, first of all.
Okay. Um, I have to clarify. I really appreciate people, and I really prize people who are well educated. So yes, my life would be very much easier if I had some background. So I miss that. And I really appreciate when I see colleagues and I learn still from them, when I see they coming with a good background as well, like a theoretical background, because they are trying to use this on their daily basis. So I don't discard that. I'm talking about managerial, I'm talking about getting to know styles of leadership. However, if I can tell you, if leadership can be taught. If I can tell you that leadership um, can be something that someone can learn in the school, I would say, and I think I'm tired, and people who knows me very well, hey, they recognize. I believe that we are all leaders. So it's just matter
Mm.
of what you want to, of what you are sparking in people, like which kind of a motivation you are giving to that. And when I say we are all leaders, I'm not saying that we are leaders of leading people. I used to say that even for people with whom I had the pleasure of work before, is all about the way that you approach things, is all about, first of all, accountability. So you need really to be to take the ownership of the things you work with, or have I used to say you need to have the ownership of your life. So at some moment as well, I took the chance and I said, okay, I will change my life. So that's the moment I decided, okay, I'll be a leader, first a leader for my life. Later on, of course, you can
Mm.
apply this to the way you lead people and to the way you lead things. But I believe that leadership is, everybody has a leader inside, and everybody just need to be sparked in this way. I don't know if you understand what I mean. It just have to be motivated or inspired. And yes, people can flourish these and can bring something good for others. That's my way. That's the way that I believe things. However, again, I have to reemphasize this. I don't. My life would be much easier if I had some background before.
That's wonderfully put, Cesar. And we already have a questions, and we will follow up on them immediately. Uh, we have one comment that a leader should be a good listener, and a question from Sankar is if you can comment on that, how you would reflect on that.
Absolutely. I think this is the key, not only for a leader, is a key for anyone that would like to have to be understood. I know today is very difficult. We are in an era that everything's so fast that we don't have time to listen to each other. We don't have time to stop or to pay attention. I think the key mark that I believe that I never like it is to pass through a leader, to pass to a manager that talks to me, and it seems that the person just want to talk as soon as possible, take the task and say, okay, next, bye, 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 bye. I have to go to the next. So I really appreciate the time when someone is speaking to me as I was the most important person of that moment, and not someone that is just taking a task. And that's the thing that I try to pass to others. So about listening, yes, I this is just part of the way that this communication flows.
Absolutely, I would, from all of my experience, I would agree with you. If you don't listen to your people, I think there is no way to build further rapport. Definitely, and uh, and
And
then
not only
we,
to
Mhm.
your people, sorry, Mark, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
No, no, I will say it's not only to your people. I think is it even people that are not connected with you, people that just came to approach you. It's very common that people approach you to ask things, to ask advice, or to ask for a help, for a hand. And it's very common that we, during some moments, just say, "Oh my God, I don't have time now." But nothing. I think it's priceless to have this experience of making the person feel important. That's the thing that I think we have to still to foment, to work inside of us. But I know it's so hard because we live in so dynamic world where things are so fast and we don't pay attention to that.
Um, in every of your responses, I have so many sentences that I would like to follow up that I would need to re-listen. So we have a question from Kati, directly from Netherlands. Cesar, do you
Mhm.
think your emotional intelligence helped you to be a manager in the beginning of your management career, even when you had no management leadership education?
Um, I have no doubts about this. I'll not say that I am, let's say, uh, enough intelligent person in emotionally, but I would say that because of the experiences of life that we had, I mean, first of moving country, later on of a personal experiences, of course this helps a lot, and this helps goes to the first thing, I learned to listen, goes to the second thing, to creating empathy, to understand the pain of the other, and to understand the things that we wouldn't like to have repeated with us, or to somehow to support other people, the development of other people. So absolutely yes. This is one of the key things. But I believe we all can somehow develop this self-awareness and this emotional intelligence. This is something we can develop because I believe I'm still evolving in that.
Yes, I think that the new name for that approach is kind of infinite mindset, right? So always
Hmm.
to learn and improve. We have one question that maybe you can reflect from your own experience. It's that leader need to be a great set by examples, or actually to be an example of behavior that he's talking about. I guess if I can rephrase the question. So you have a long career. Probably you have seen a lot of people who are telling something and then not following up, and then people who said something and then have done what they have said. If you reflect on that, on your experience, how quickly you build one or another relation with such examples.
Marco, is important to say one thing. These people that sometimes say and they do something different. I am one of them that sometimes do such kind of mistakes. So for that, as I said, is a continuous exercise of self-awareness to understand, okay,
Mm.
I intend to do something, however, I did something totally different. Or I intended to move in one direction, however, at some moment, for some reason, I just move it to another. And I'm aware about these mistakes, and it's exactly where I would like to evolve. But coming back about the being an example, I'm very much and I pursue these I'll call philosophy, or I'll call this direction of servant leader. I'm not saying that I'm servant leader. I'm still evolving and maturing that, but that's the way I would move, and I think that things should progress, at least in my career. So when it comes to a servant leader, the belief is that we are not all the time trying to impose something or try to set the example, but by being close to our colleagues, by being motivating them closely, by being giving the proper attention to them, that's the way we create this example. So it's not about creating fear, it's creating unconsciously creating authority, of course. And this, I think, is the right thing to do. This is my view, at least, Marco.
And again, it again sounds this self-awareness from what you are saying, actually recognizing that yes, I do make mistakes. I actually sometimes don't do what I say, but how you follow up on that, right? So when
Oh,
you understand that you said to someone, how you I think that's very important, how you follow up when you understand that you made that mistake.
for example, I understand that I make a mistake when I come to the night and I start to think what could have what could have had happened better, or which kind of a communication style used with some person, or where I was not being a proper servant leader that I pursue so much, that I try to focus, and where I'm failing, or what can I evolve in this matter, how can I apply better my ways of thinking, or mostly in this direction, Marco. So it's a pure reflection. We need to have time for reflection. I think this is a continuous.
You said again, we have to have time. We're having greetings from Brazil and India again. Greetings to the world.
Okay, cool.
And you said one important thing, and I would like you to maybe investigate it a bit more. That you have to have time to reflect, and very often, and
Hmm.
it goes back to what you said. We live in a very fast world. What you would advise to anyone who is, regardless if it's on managerial or leadership position, what you would advise to people how to get that time to reflect?
You need first to learn to say no, to find time for you. that was one of the mistakes I did, and I do still. If I see some question here, which kind of things I did as mistake, like not giving time to myself, like accepting everything and not saying no, not respecting my limits. And by respecting your limits, you find time for yourself. So
That's
it
very
depends on you,
important.
Marco.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's very important to learn. It took me years to learn how to say no. It took me years. So it's very difficult. It's very complicated that. But yeah, I think finally I found a. I'm still finding some balance. I still find that I know I still do some mistakes on catching too many things. I'm not talking about tasks itself. I'm talking about responsibilities and accountabilities. But I'm learning that how to say no or how to respect time to myself to be able to help others in the future.
Um, what I have recently, and not well recently, whatever recently means, but in a last period, what I understood is that I simply have 8 hours daily for work, right? Because I
Uh-huh.
have family and the rest of the things that I've been working on. So it is about priorities, right? So and then what is important for you has to fit there in 8 hours. So I guess what you are saying, if taking care about yourself, if taking care about the time to reflect, and then again taking care about your people, uh, that's where the time has to be found in these 8 hours, right?
Mm-hmm. Has it depends, Marco. Now I work with processes, so it's much easier, of course, to do that. However,
Mm-hmm.
when I start to work with people, I believe that 8 hours sometimes are not enough. Even when we want to exercise that, what I said, to make the person with whom you are speaking to be listened, to make the person who is speaking with you to feel really important, and for you not feel important, for you to give the proper importance and respect to this person that's speaking with you. So I think goes in this direction, Marco. Sometimes I'm
Mm-hmm.
still exercising that. When it comes to business, I believe 8 hours should be enough. But when you are talking with people, when we are dealing with people, sometimes 8 hours are not enough. Even more if you're working with big teams.
Yes, it can. Sometimes you cannot know if a talk is 15 minutes or it will be hour and a half, right?
Do you have 1 minute? Do you have a minute? Can you have one
Exactly.
minute
Do
for
you have a
me? And
minute?
that this minute, of course, sometimes becomes 1 hour. But once again, people have to be respected, and somehow is the respect also you expect from them in you expect from them in some sense. So you have to exercise this direction, but however, again, it's a continuous exercise, Marco, of saying no
Mm,
or moving or giving the importance as well to your family.
absolutely. We have a interesting question from Edesio, who is saying, as a servant leader, you're showing empathy, you're selfless, humble, authentic, you care and collaborate. And then the question is, what is your advice when meeting people who are showing the opposite traits?
And that's let's put one thing, and because I see here one word, and it's very common misunderstood. People come and say, okay, so being a servant leader is just about of being humble. No, it's not that. Being a servant leader is not about being humble, because I know in most of situations people think, okay, servant leader has to be in the background, has to do this. No, it's not about. It's about empowering people. It's about supporting people, giving direction, but being close to them and giving them the proper importance. So it's about praising people rather only the process itself. So because for following the process, you only need to be a manager. You don't need to be a leader for that thing. Um, but coming back, Adesio, what I would do if someone showed the opposite traits, I simply would try to do something that I know is very popular nowadays, is give a feedback, but not give a feedback, because what I see is very popular, try to give this direct feedback or this so-called constructive feedback. I went in a very different line. It's not so simple, but I work in a way to try to give a feedback to this person. So for her or for him to get to know my pain, or for her or for him to understand what is my expectation, and also maybe to create empathy, to understand why this person is so different. And also you have to respect this diversity, diversity of styles of people. So that's the way I would do it, as you.
You touched excellent point of a feedback, and we may track on that. Let's just follow up on a few questions before. And Isabella is asking how to make the team see the leader look in the same direction and not treat the leader as someone who only orders and imposes what to do.
Okay, it's more complex than there is no formula. I would be very wrong saying there is a formula or to tell you no, do this and that. It's a set of things. Listening, I think everybody here knows how important it's listen, but how difficult it is to exercise that. Also, everybody here knows how important it is to share the vision and mostly to accept mistakes, accept that people that work with you, they can do mistakes. It's common. It's really nice to see people that evolve in this way. Oops, there was some mistake, there was some error. Accept that people is doing that and understand that people can overcome that. So this one would be like the first starting point, because again, I'm only here because at some moment I had great leaders as well that allowed me to do mistakes. I did many mistakes, and that made me evolve, but I had to be conscious of these mistakes. I had to get the feedback about that. I had to understand about this and then to evolve.
If I would add my reflection on that same question, but would like to hear your point of view there. Isa is asking here how team should see a leader, and my response would be actually you should not be worried about that how someone would see you. Just be yourself all the time. Do not make your decisions from your projection. Don't worry about what people would like to see from a leader, so I would like to act as one, but be yourself. Communicate truly from what you intend, what is real direction, and try to understand people, and then don't worry about the projection, but be authentic. But how you would actually reflect on that?
Being authentic, I think this is a topic that was including in discussion nowadays in my company as well. How to help people to be authentic, how to help people to, mainly our leaders, to bring this authenticity to work. I mean, to being themselves. First, there's need to be an environment of trust, first of all.
Yes.
So it's all about how you trust. Again, this exercise of trusting people, this exercise of understanding that people can do mistakes, and this exercise that open communication. I say open communication with respect, of course. Doesn't mean that you have open communication that you can go out and start to shout on someone. No, it's not this way. At least in my view, yeah, because it's quite common that we have some autocratic leaders that they think, okay, we have open communication. I can say whatever to someone, independently if they hurt their feelings or not. So, and it's not exactly what we are looking for. So, coming back. So this open communication, this open understanding, this open follow-up, and mostly, again, I have to insist in that, this exercise of feedback, I think it has to be continuous. But yeah, you're totally right, Marco. I agree with you. That you don't have to worry about how people see you in this way. Sometimes I used to say, I told you already in the beginning, I was this paternalist, this big father in the beginning. Later also, I was this democratic. Okay, guys, what do you all the time? What do you think? But you cannot be this way. There is the moment as well of being autocratic, and there are moments mainly when running the business that you have to be a bit stronger, and doesn't mean you have to be a bad person or disrespectful. So you have to know how to combine the styles of leadership. That's exactly what I learned, and that's what worked so well, at least for me, during these years.
There is one interesting question here that actually I think it comes directly to what you were just said, but a very, very interesting one. Marcelo is asking, Cesar, I know you were a martial arts practitioner, karate Kyokushin.
Oh
And
my
we
God.
have I don't know if I will surprise you, but I also trained karate for
Oh,
7 years. And the question is, and
okay.
I think that it will be interesting to hear, especially from my perspective. Do you think this experience from the past helped you to be a better leader today?
Yes, no doubt about this. I think this was I can tell you was the what helped me to form first of all my character, the way I
Hmm.
am, the way of listening people, the be, and somehow I know it sometimes disturb people the way of being, because of listening so much, you are too much in silent as well, and you learn to be in silent. And yes, Marcelo, definitively this was the biggest mark in my childhood, then my teenage years, and my adult life. Because if you think we're more than 20 years dedicated to karate, and yeah, so
Oh.
yeah, it was. But come on, you shouldn't open this. This is a this is very bad for you, Marcelo. My wife, she's laughing here. Yeah, but yeah, definitively yes, yes.
We have insiders.
This was a this was a this definitely was one of the biggest marks in my life, and that this exactly changes well the way I respect to others, the way I'm humble, because I know exactly what is I can do, exactly what were my limitations. It learned, at least teached me how to recognize myself and how to be more self-aware. So yeah, in this direction, yes.
um, I think that I'm not even aware how much that formed me as a person that I am today. I spent my whole primary school training karate, and I'm not even sure how much that impacted me. I know that I'm aware of certain things that were important, but I'm sure that there is some underlying fundaments that affected me that I'm not even sure in what ways. I would definitely recommend martial arts and sports in general for that,
Yes,
right?
yes. I know. I recommend for myself because now I cannot do anything like this.
No, no way.
I,
I'll
I,
be.
I, 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 I'm even ashamed to say yes. I did this in other life, but not now.
uh, truly saying now, if I would do one training, I would be that. So we have another question from Anna. Anna is saying, what to do if a leader is emotionally too much involved in people, situations related to those people. Sometimes it is difficult to make step back and look from different perspective. What is your advice? Very, very important question, I guess.
It's Anna. I have to go here back again. Yes, I know. I think by myself as well. Sometimes it's too much involved in the common topics that we shouldn't be involved with. We should let people fail a bit more. This is one thing. Like leaders should have the chance to allow people to fail, because this emotional involvement in situations, etc., is mostly for some lack of confidence, or maybe for some lack of not confidence in you, but lack of confidence as well. I don't like to see in your colleague or in your I don't like to see your employee, but yeah, but in your colleague, and you think that person will fail, and you are so much into trying to mitigate the risk or trying to micromanage something, but you need to be prepared, and you need to exercise at least to allow people to fail, allow people to do mistakes. And yeah, that's exactly what I do. But if someone is bothering you, maybe you are living the opposite. You have maybe some manager or someone that's fully involved in your tasks, in your things. Maybe it's time to give a slightly a feedback, not a feedback, of course, that you're gonna hurt anyone, but something. Please allow me to fail, or allow me to do this alone. Can you trust me, or is there any issue with trust between us? Because usually this is lack of trust, if not in the person on her or himself, or maybe on you. So I would exercise that.
Um, Several times you mentioned feedback, and I think it's a time to concentrate on it, because it's one of the crucial traits, I guess, of anyone, and especially if on a managerial leadership positions. Over the years, how your giving feedback evolved, right? So how you gave feedback to the team, how you felt actually, first of all, how you felt when you were giving feedback to your first team with this diverse team across countries when you just started leadership path, and how you are doing this today, how that evolved.
Marco, first I did a mistake in the beginning that thinking that, okay, for giving feedback, I know that we have to be respectful. It doesn't matter if you give feedback or not. In any circumstance, we need to be respectful with people. Um, but it changed because also I think the culture we have today, it changed as well. I know there is a massive interest in the industry, a massive interest in corporations mainly, in try to give this open feedback or this somehow constructive feedback. However, Marco, I understand as well that we have people in the other side. So it's quite common that we intend to give a feedback like a example. Um, you are doing this wrong. You should do this in different way. And instead, we should come with a, I'm struggling to understand this. Maybe can you explain me how we could do this different? So there are ways to do that because there are ways to respect people and this massive culture of pushing. Okay, you need to give feedback to be more feedback to be more productive. So this, I think, it's not me, but I think everybody's evolving. We have to understand once again, we have people in the other side. I'm used to hear a lot of these. Feedback is a gift. I don't disagree with that. I believe it's a gift, but depends the way you provide. It depends the way you give this feedback. So sometimes you're gonna hurt people, you're gonna destroy the week, the month, you're gonna affect her personal or his personal life. So it's very complicated. It has to be very delicate, and I believe feedback has to be tailored from people to people. Not tailored like I'll mask someone that you did, but tailored in the way you communicate with them. That's why you need to know very well the people you deal with. Doesn't matter if it's your boss, if your employee, if your colleague. Doesn't matter who is. I think you have to be, first of all, respectful. You have to know the approach. And this, compared with what happened 11, 12 years ago to now, that's exactly what evolved in myself. I got more conscious that I can really affect the life of people by giving feedback, affect negatively.
Mm.
And this is something I don't want to live with that. But I care, of course, of giving, when say constructive, in a way that will not affect negatively the life of people.
That
It's
is
very
that is
hard.
beautifully
This
said.
this is
Mhm. Yes.
a very, but it's very difficult exercise today, Marco. It's very difficult because we tend to live again in so dynamic organizations, or even in these forums, like we have these lives now that people are smashing, jumping. Everything has to be quick, has to be fast. We don't pay attention to people. We don't give the proper investment to people, and moreover, we are so much in, because as human beings we are judging all the time. It's natural, but we are so much involved, we are so much in judge person and give her immediately. I judge you, this is the way you are, I have to change that. I don't have to model anyone. I have to respect this diversity of people, diversity of thinking. I know that you're gonna say, I used to say even to some people, but you don't know, but I'm more an introverted guy. So yes,
Mm.
I'm not guy that is speaking much or doing much. Today is different because I feel in a friendly environment. Normally, I prefer to listen and then to talk, or listen much more than talk, or act only when it's needed. But sometimes I know it's very different for people. It's the same. We expect to have the same everybody in one box, and it's impossible to have people in boxes. It's impossible to judge a group of people and put, okay, you are in this box, you are in that box, you are in that box. And in the past, I remember some people were telling me, Cesar, but you have a so huge team. I thought about this 25, but in IBM moving, this was close to 400. So it was so complex, so difficult, so huge in bigger dimension. So how are you gonna do that? Yes, it's all about how you dedicate your time to people that in consequence they will make the business as well succeed. So one is consequence of that. I'm not saying that I was just trying to make life of people nice, but as well the consequence. They were evolving in consequence as well. The business was evolving. The business as well was progressing. So one is consequence of the other. But it's very thin line. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm saying that it's a continuous exercise. Is something that I'm always looking for. Sorry, I
Um,
spoke too much now.
no. It's wonderful. I intentionally didn't want to interrupt you. And actually, what you have said about the boxes, it's very common to label people very fast today. And actually, let us venture beyond corporate and business life, and maybe to reflect a little bit on our global world now. Isn't it from your perspective now what we are doing in our daily lives also via social networks and via our political views are exactly that, putting people in boxes immediately, just equaling their whole being with just one word that we have for that label. Do you think that it's very similarly happening?
I think so, Marco. And more and more, and this is the thing I'm most afraid, we have less and less patience to try to understand people. We have less
Mm,
and less patience to even sometimes to face different opinions, because I don't have to agree with everything, but because of that, we have disagreements and shouldn't go this way. So we have less and less because we want to think so fast. Okay, it's not this, jump, skip. I put you in the box. I don't have to talk. In the box, I don't talk anymore. Let's go to the other box with people that probably not. I'm not saying that people think the same as me, but with people that goes somehow in the same direction, or knows how to listen during some period. But then this person as well, one day has no patience, no time. I move this person, I tag them, and I put to this box. But yes, we are more and more, we are losing patience, and we are more and more intolerant. That's the way.
mm,
I think we are more and more intolerant with different opinions. We are more and more intolerant with the different ways of being. We need people to be in the same box. Yes, extroverted, happy, outgoing, or with some political vision, or doesn't matter left or right, but has to be the one that is aligned to me. And then yes, these are the people I will follow. So we don't accept anymore this diversity, and it's so hard. It's so difficult. This is really, to accept this diversity is something very difficult.
what is actually very counterintuitive right now, because let's consider our talk right now. We have people from really almost all continents right now here on our call. We have people from
Yes.
Indonesia, India, Europe, both Americas, Africa. I think I saw some of our regular viewers, and we all have common topic. We all have common interest in discussing about this what we are discussing today. And isn't it much better to search for our similarities and common interests and respect different points of view so that we can enrich what we are talking about, rather than put us to all of these boxes of countries where we are coming from and actually judging by that?
Absolutely, Marco. And uh, more than that, Marco, uh, even if you say that it will be beneficial, but it's not happening. Unfortunately, this
Mm,
is not happening, Marco. It's sad to say that, and but there is the reality. It's not happening. What I'm mostly afraid, and this is something I can share with all of you, is that we're gonna close this computer right now. You're gonna say, "Yeah, you know how it." This is the phrase I don't like. You know how it is. So let's move our life. But you are not making the difference. We are not exercising. You're not. I'm not, again, not by your attitude, because again we do mistakes. Yes, we do. But by this continuous exercise, yes, tomorrow I'll do something different. Tomorrow I'll be different in this direction. I'm not saying that I'll change my opinion, but I'll be more receptive, and moreover, I'll try to be more empathic. This is very difficult exercise, Marco, because again, it's very easy to talk right now because we are in this friendly environment, opening is quite fancy, we have this live,
mm,
etc. But then suddenly we close our computer and we came back to exactly what we were, what you and we got lost again. We lose everything, all the good attitudes, all the good thoughts we had. We lose. We use another box to store them there, and we don't exercise that. So this is a continuous exercise of empathy, a continuous exercise of listening. And we live in in these days of intolerance that I don't see this happening. And that's the thing that most afraid later on to pass to my son that, yes, one day he'll come to me and he'll say the same phrase that always hear people say, ah, you know how it is, no? So let's accept the way it is. No, we don't have to accept. We are, we, we are the ones to do this transformation. We are the ones as well to do this revolution or to be part of that.
That's absolutely amazing. And I think these small things, hug your friend of another category tomorrow, right? So maybe someone will see. So maybe they will hug someone day after tomorrow, right? So
I don't know if I'll hug anyone because we have the social distance now, but yeah.
social distance, yeah, yeah. Yes,
Don't
disclaimer.
forget about this.
Disclaimer. Hug virtually. But indeed, and I think that's one coming back maybe to our original topic about leadership. I think that leadership and in general is very close and directly connected to your life values and the world in general, right? So these topics that we discuss now, about left and right and boxes and so on, it is directly implementable in your daily life in a corporation, right? It's not two different things.
I not say that if you ask about political situation, I don't say this is influence because uh, at least I try to be very proper and not involve this kind of the topic itself or to get emotionally involved in the topic
I
and
thought
bring
more on
this
the
clear.
labeling, so that was just one example. I thought
Okay, okay,
more
okay.
on the labeling in that sense.
Yeah, when it comes to the labeling, yes. Um, because we have the expectation mostly. Let's go back to the local market, Eastern Europe market. I know the market somehow is becoming more mature, so we have still this expectation that the model of market has to be I don't know, X or Y or Z, and we are so much connected to that we are not able to think and again to think in this diversity of
Mhm.
personalities, the diversity of cultures, the diversity of styles of leadership even. So we are not aggregating. We are no. We need to have a leader that is democratic and autocratic, and we need to have the model of business that we have only outgoing people, that everybody is smiling all the time, that everybody is extroverted, and everybody going the same direction. That's the way we have to go. No, so we are not accepting different things. We are not accepting creativity, and that's killing. That's the killer. That's exactly where we are not evolving. So in the end, Marco, coming back to your question, we are putting people in boxes, and we believe that only people belonging to one specific box are the one that should be praised, should be followed, and later on, how they say, should succeed, should help the companies to succeed. But again, we keep fighting, we keep this exercise, and I believe we'll succeed at some moment.
Exactly. That's actually, but that's the definition, I guess, of diversity. Just to counter different ways of thinking, right? So, and in discussion to have something new. Um, maybe on that, maybe that line. Actually, question from Rainer: how your Brazilian background help you to be a leader you are? Very interesting. We are all born somewhere, but how how your
Oh.
Brazilian, how you would reflect on that?
Wow, I have to be politically correct here. Huh?
You
No,
don't have to.
is
PC culture is not what you
no,
accept.
I think Sarah, once again, I mentioned the ways that we have to change, but so far I had always the lucky to work with great leaders. So they always allowed me, gave me freedom to act and to behave the way I behave still today. So I could let's go back to the original question. I could bring this Brazilian style to here. I'll give you a very simple example. Imagine 11 years ago, a Brazilian family arrived in Poland here, etc. And then I know it's not common here because I saw that was a shock. I told my wife, okay, let's prepare a barbecue to my team. Let's bring everybody home. Let's cook all together and let's enjoy. So I know it was a shock because I know people are not used to that. I know it's not common, this socialization or creating this relationship, or even more, to invest so much in relationship. It was not
Mm.
common. I know it evolved, but I know it was not
Yeah.
common. So that was something that helped a lot. And Heiner, I think you understand what I mean. On doing a nice barbecue, have a good steak, sharing the same table with people, try to understand, okay, this person has a bit more pain here, or they have something more here. So which are our struggles, and moreover as well, to enjoy life, by not saying. But so these are the things that helped me a lot, Heiner.
We have one question that is very uncommon, but I think as it is a common, I think that we should actually discuss about it. Marcelo is asking, Cesar, your parents were Christians. Do you believe that following a religion can make better leaders? Were you influenced by religion of Christianity? Something that we,
They
I
were
think,
Christians,
never
but
discuss.
mm, okay. Let's say my
You
parents, they
can, or
had a
you
different.
don't have to answer if you don't want to.
I will answer it to some extent because I have friends from different religions, and I think we live in very good common understanding today. Uh, no, Marcelo, I not say the Christianity itself, but I think the values that my
Mm,
parents they gave me, they were the source of being who I am today. So independently of the religion, I think as they had great values, and I forever I will be thankful to them. These, I think, that's where the roots of who I am. Independently, they are Christians, Jews, Muslims,
mm,
or whatever. I think the base first of all would be their beliefs, the way, the way that was created, the way that it was forming my character, and so on. So
mm,
I would have this bad understanding because I will tell you, I know they were Christians, but they have taught. One was Protestant, another just sharing, another was Catholic. So you don't know here, but in the other side of the ocean, this is quite different. The approach is very
mm,
different. So I would say the base and the values they passed to me that were equal, that was the difference. Independent if I'll say my father was not practicant or nothing like this, but independent of which line of which religion, which belief they had, it's all about as well the roots that and the values that they passed to me.
uh, we hear applause. I
It's
think,
my wife. Sorry.
but very, very well, very, very well, very well deserved. And actually, maybe also I can reflect on it, especially coming from Balkans, where we have at least three main religions. Part of Serbia, where I'm coming from, has 27 nations. Countries of Balkans like Serbia, Croatia, Bosnia, Montenegro, Macedonia, of course, Romania, Bulgaria, all different religions and ethnicities and languages. But when I traveled all of these countries, when I have my friends from all of these countries, what brings you together are these values. First of all, we came from different backgrounds with different religions, but when you find a good person, honest person, respectful person, that is what matters. Not in what church, I guess, the person goes. And I went to mosques, I went to cathedrals, I went to churches. I felt very similarly in both of them, all of them, and I think when you find this common ground, human values, that is what connects you. Not necessarily again a label on that church, however that would sound.
Come, come on, Marco. Just see the life, the environment that we're inserted today. My son studies in a Jewish school, and we are very happy with that. He grows in this Jewish environment. My wife works with most of Muslims, and we still have some background in Brazil with some Christians. So we live in a very mixed environment and very respectful environment. So I don't think this would be, again, this would be the factor that would change or make a better leader.
Absolutely. Um, One very important question from Anna, and just let me see how much time we are still good with the time. First of all, everyone, thank you so much for your questions. Actually, I'm not asking any of mine. You are much better. So just continue and thank you. Questions are wonderful. They bring us to completely unplanned, uncharted territories of conversation. So thank you, thank you for that. So Anna is asking. Did you have feeling at some moment during your career that you burned out and maybe it is time for changes in your life, maybe even to leave a leader role? What motivates you? Very important
Oh,
for
yes.
everyone who didn't or did burn out until now.
You know, I will not say burnout, but of course I was close. Again,
Mm,
for the lack of learning how to say no, and not no,
mm,
not because someone was harassing me or something like this, but because we were so flooded of activities, of responsibilities, and that you start to lose the control. It happened, but yeah, I never did, but I was close to that. I was
mm.
very close to that, and these were one of the things that at some moment I say, okay, I have to breathe, stop a bit, maybe allow me to fail a bit more than I fail. So because I was allowing already, and move forward with my life. But yes, we you have to be very careful that it's very common, even more nowadays. Society, so competitive society, that people they let themselves to burn out. So again, I have to repeat myself. You need to have time to yourself. You need to have time to think. You need to have time to reflect. Otherwise, you always will be in this cycle, this poisoned cycle, and you don't know. And it's gonna happen that you or someone else that you are close with will burn out.
And sometimes it's hard also to recognize that you are close to a burnout. Sometimes it's maybe just one additional information what pushes you beyond the limit. Um, and I guess that once when you have been in that situation, you are able to recognize it more later, so to react before. But do you have some advice, Cesar, for the people who never been there? How to recognize such situations, how to recognize frustration that is maybe not even conscious. I don't know if something like that is
It's
is
natural. You're
possible.
human.
Mhm.
I would say, and again, I'm being very humble here because I'm sharing my personal opinion. Okay, it's not based in
Mhm.
any scientific thought or any scientific
Absolutely.
understanding. But we all are human beings that sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're sad, sometimes you're stressed. If you're all the time in one single condition, like or sad, or stressed, or tired, something's wrong. So that's I think
Mm.
that's the first thing to understand, because we need to have we always have these ways. We need to have all these sensations of sadness. There's a moment of being sad, of mourning. There's a moment of being happy. There is a moment of life as well that you are tired. There is a moment that you don't want to do anything. You just want to relax and to cool down. So you need to find yourself that if something is in the extreme, that you are living all the time in stress, or if you're living all the time in sadness, you need help. You need help, and this help can be in a call, can be you have to be open with other people just to try to look for this help, or maybe to try to have a conversation to compare. Something is wrong. Everybody needs somebody. Everybody needs people to talk. Sorry, just brought me these blue brothers. Everybody needs somebody. Yes.
Everybody needs a
Yes.
exactly. We have now we are all singing
we
the melody.
we don't need to be so serious though. It's 8 p.m. here in Poland. Come on, we can be a bit
Exactly.
relaxed,
We definitely, that does not have to be so serious. Um, and one question that maybe it is especially interesting now in this situation, very actual question from Sidonia. Considering the actual pain around the world of the global pandemic situation, which has strengthened the possibility of working remotely, somehow it distances the personal human to human touch when leading teams. right? And actually the question is, do you see this situation as a problem for long term? Would you have some advices on how to motivate to keep your team close even when working virtual?
I know this exceptional time. I know we have this um, let's say virtual gatherings, example, these virtual
Mm,
Zoom parties, etc. If you feel this works for your team, you have to experiment. I don't think anyone has the answer now. If you feel this work for your team, great. But I know for some teams you're not going to work. For some teams, I think it's more important for them to have the personal contact. Example, to have order managers or to have small groups, because it's very difficult. Think you have sometimes in these Zoom parties or etc. When you are in outside, you are used to have parallel conversations. You are used to turn to someone and say, so how is your life? You don't have this opportunity.
mm,
If this happen
mm,
in such environment, you will be on the spot, and sometimes people don't feel comfortable with that. So eh, I think, Sidonia, in this way, I don't have a formula. I don't have advice. I just see what is working now. I see for my team example, it's working quite well. I see they gathering together. They feel happy. They are exchanging. However, as well, I see some others they prefer to have this individual conversation. Let's have a talk, or let's have a talking tree, and I don't know, get a wine and discuss and talk about life. Or don't need to be from the same company. We can have from people with different interests. But again, it's very particular from team to team, Sidonia. Some teams they will feel more comfortable to be together. Some teams some individuals you have to talk to them in separate. So it's from characteristic to characteristic of the personality. It depends.
mm, mm. It is
I
challenging.
think that
Our
yeah, yeah. The advice here is to you have to try because it's
mm.
unprecedented. We I don't think we ever dreamed to leave such situation right now, to be close home 2 3 months without doing anything. I mean, working, and yeah, it's very hard.
Exactly. Just working. Exactly. We have a before we go to one very important concept of leadership and management comparison between those. We have one question that is very interesting, and I don't know if you sometimes people do have people who they are look up to, but Marta is asking who are the leaders you admire most, and maybe you could also get inspired reading a biography before yours in the bookstores. So do you have a people that you look up to learn from in that sense, or it's more kind of long life learning, right?
I think, of course, I use books as reference. I use books like totally
Mm-hmm.
for learning. Mostly when people are sharing their experience. I like biographies, but not biographies only of leaders. I like uh, different kind of things. But if you're gonna ask someone like Ken Blanchard talking about servant leadership, I think it's a good starting. It is a good understanding. I know he mix a bit, in my opinion, religion, and it can may not be so comfortable. But yeah, it can be one. But I like different kind of literature, like Paulo Coelho is very Brazilian one. Yeah, just to understand the way that because we are Brazilians, we are so strange and so different in our side. We are so a lot of mysticism, a lot of understanding, different understanding about life. So also from the cultural point of view, but when if you ask about leaders that I admire, I would say the leaders that I had the chance to work with had some good people. Mentioning people that were uh, in a hierarchy above me, people that were in a hierarchy working with me. And I could mention from IBM, Markham Ridge, and we have PRS Flute. We had some great people that were always supporting people that were working together with me, like All That's Well, with um, we had Mariola that was close to me. And so we had some good people working and always sharing their vision, open to talk, open to listen. From the past, I had people from CA, from HCL, and so on. So it would be very unfair to mention only them, but mostly from perspective of life. You have to be very open to listen to them. You have to be very open sometimes to agree or disagree, and to take advantage of a different perspective that they are presenting to you. So I always have something to learn. I've learned as well from mentoring. Sometimes I'm mentoring people, and they have different opinions, different views. They don't have to agree with me, and this is the moment that I learn a lot as well. So yeah, that would be how I would share. But yeah.
We have a question also from Roman. Did you ever try to be a mentor that you just mentioned for less experienced leaders? And are you interested in this area? And how do you see the role of a mentor? And I know you are. And the question is just, what is your take on the overall area of mentorship?
First of all, 2 steps back, because even from my CV, I remove it. I'm not a coach, okay? It's very important. I believe that a coach is
Yeah.
someone that has to be really well prepared. So I used to say yes. I don't dare, because I respect the way they do. I'm not a coach, and I don't have the skills fully developed to be a coach. However, I believe I can share as a mentor experience, share understanding, share views about life that you might disagree as well. And yeah, I had several mentees. I can say some dozens of mentees. Now I also inserted different mentoring process as well. So yeah, of course, this is the best time and the best exercise you do to get to know different points of views independently, if a manager or even if individual contributor.
That is very interesting point of view. It is not only that you are giving to a person, actually you are receiving a lot when you're mentoring someone,
All the
right?
time, all the time. Because if you go with a position of a mentoring someone, that you have to teach the person from top to down, definitively you are not giving space to listen to them. You are just interested possibly to only pass knowledge, only to transfer or to model the person the way you want, and the person they want to be listened, they want to adapt to what is the best for them, and maybe not all your opinions, just part of them, they will be useful.
Absolutely. Cesar, one of the topics that we wanted to cover is a relationship between leadership and management. So, would you
Mm-hmm.
like to clarify those two terms and their relation? And can person be both? Are they mutually exclusive? How you see those two related?
Yes, they can be both, but I think it's more a theoretical definition, this, Marco, because my view, a manager has to be um, someone who will give you goals, who will give some direction, and the leader is someone that will inspire you to do that, that possibly will give you the vision or pursue the dream itself. So I think they are not exclusive. I think they can coexist together in the same person. This is my
Hmm.
view, at least, because I know I come on, even okay, I try to inspire or to pass. Yes, this the how manager sorry, how a leader should be, but in the end of the day, I have to run business. I have to make a company to succeed, and as well, I have to make professionals to succeed. And for doing that, sometimes you have to put process sometimes in place, but not exclusively only process. You have to inspire as well, and then enter your leadership. Your leadership touch.
Exactly, and at the end of the day, all of these things, evolvement of leadership and so on, probably started because we needed to increase our revenue. So let's find the ways how people can be more productive. They wanted to work. They work more. They work over hours because they are inspired. So, but of course, it is a little bit cynical point of view. But if we go back to that, how good leadership, whatever that means, how proper leadership affects performance of team, right?
huh, if you don't have a leader who is not, I'm sorry for repeating this, going to this
Mhm.
cycle, but it's not
Yes.
used to listen or not used to give the proper importance, uh, you're gonna break people. It's my view, at least. People gonna not respect you. They're gonna fear you, and they will do by the process. That's it. But they will not feel inspired. They don't see they add value for their life or for their career. And moreover, later they will be not loyal to you. When I say
Mm.
loyal to you, in a way, loyal to you, loyal to the company, to the client, and so on. Because one thing is attached to the other. So it's very hard, this Marco.
Uh, from your experience now, that actually spans for a significant amount of time in the different countries and so on, when leadership fails, when someone can know, or when you knew that you failed, if you haven't, or how we know that, damn, this is bad.
Okay. Uh, okay, let me think one thing, Marco, because I think I'm going back in the same thing.
Yes, but it
Leadership,
is, yeah.
yes, yeah, but there is one thing. Leadership fails when it's not, and I have to insist in the topic of diversity because it's not about
Mm,
cultural diversity, religious diversity, ethnicity. I'm talking about diversity as well of styles of people. So when the leader don't respect that and go back and start to put you in box, when they don't use your potential because you are not with the tag that's expected, is where your team start to fall down because part of the team will be in the terms or in the style you expect, but other part of the team, because they are in different box, they will not succeed. Your business will not succeed. Your team will not succeed, and you have not have a proud team or happy team
mm,
as you prefer.
mm. It is sometimes feels like we are going in circles, but actually, when you have healthy fundaments of a behavior, everything that goes from them is right. So whatever point in this tree you would choose, it goes back to a trunk. Or it goes back to actually roots of of a behavior. So it's not coincidence that you are coming back to certain values and the fundamentals, I guess.
Because you touch exactly the point, Mark. Because these are my values. These are the
Mm,
things I exercise. These are the things that when I close this computer, I have to remember. Okay, tomorrow, how should I do? Oh, but I'm tired. Maybe to talk with this person. But no, let's find some time and let's discuss. Let's see how we can support or how we can help later on as well. This exchange will be beneficial for both of us because I will learn from that as well. So this is a continuous exercise, but this is the core, like relationship, respect, listen to each other, and yeah, these are the core things. Respect to diversity, respect to different styles of people. These are the core things in my life. So somehow I try to carry them, and that's why we
yes,
are all the time coming back to the same topics or to the same line.
exactly. You pointed out very important thing, that you said these are the values for my life. So do you how you consider this very common phrase, work-life balance? Is there a
Marco,
such
I'm not the
thing?
best person to tell you this because
Not in terms
I
of hours,
I
not in
I,
terms of hours.
no, I think it's because, of course, when I say work-life balance, I appreciate when people moves. I'm missing to move a lot, but as well, I appreciate when people are not only focused in the work, but is focused as well in create relationship, in socializing, in giving time to their family. So this is as well this work-life balance. It's not only about having a health life, but as well is to spend time with people you love, with people you appreciate, having your private life as well.
Absolutely.
This is
And tell
this
me
is
one thing.
important.
Absolutely. Tell me one thing. You said these are my values in life, and also, but also those are your values in work, right? So there is no such a door that you are slamming when you are coming off the work, and then now you are Caesar number two or Caesar number one, right?
This is
So
not
you are
possible.
this. Yes.
Yeah,
What's your take
no, no,
when they tell
true.
you? Go ahead.
Yeah, Marco. It's not possible. This is what I believe, that um, you go to work and you think that sometimes you're gonna smash people, and
Mm,
you're gonna be autocratic all the time, and you feel that this is just people just say, oh, sorry, it's just professional. No,
mm,
this is personal. You are killing my day. You kill the night that I'm going to my wife. I'm not talking about me. If I smash someone, you kill the day of this person, and this person will go to wife or husband or whoever, and this will be the topic of the night. Probably will be the topic. The week will be not good anymore. So I am affected personally. So there is not this thing that people say, sorry, sorry, sorry. This is just professional. It's not
mm,
that. This is there in your mind. We are humans. This is there in your mind. Okay, I talked to you. I was hard. I have to recognize sometimes and come say, look, I know I was hard. I'm sorry, but never come with this. This was just professional. This doesn't
mm.
exist. This will be at some point. This will be personal as well. I'm not saying that
Absolutely.
personal that I will affect someone. Someone will have to affect me personally. I'm not. I'm just saying that we have to respect people, professionals. Think that these affect their lives.
I often say also to my team members that I don't have right to to have effect on their private lives or to take off their private lives from their for my agenda, right? So I don't have right to do that. So we need to take care about each other actually while we are working, right? Before we continue, guys, we would like also to improve our webcasts. So actually, I would ask you for a feedback. That was a topic. That was a topic actually that we discussed. So if you can answer, please, on questions that you see on your screen in the meantime, and we would really appreciate that. In the meantime, the Gemara is asking, so let's try to cover that question. The question about the business culture: if you are dealing with the leadership style you don't accept, e.g., for example, extremely competitive, authoritarian, unstable, not clear expectations, toxic, what you would see as the solution to cope with the situation? What is your advice? Try to challenge influence somehow and wait for the changes, or leave as soon as possible, or maybe you have any other suggestions?
It depends of the corporation, because there are
Mm,
corporations that they have a such strong culture that if you face such kind of leader, is absolutely you can look for help internally. There is always HR. You have to trust these people. They are there for this. Have maybe if it's your manager, you have to trust HR. If it's not your manager, you have to trust your manager. And if in the end nothing of this works because maybe the company itself is poisoned, get out. That's my advice. Simple.
uh,
Find something else. Find
absolutely.
something that will make you happy.
Absolutely, and I would really, from my experience, I would really advise find environment in which you would be allowed to flourish. The same
And
person
but
in one
yes,
organization. Yeah, go ahead. Go
go
ahead.
ahead. Sorry, Marco. Apologies. No, go ahead. You.
The same person actually has firm limitations in one company and absolutely different boundaries in another, and it's not always your fault. It's not always something that you can do. Always, I think you should always try, but not one organization is right. Right, in this world you have one life, and generally corporations are big. Any one working corporation is replaceable, but you are not replaceable in your own life. You are not replaceable in your own family. And I think that we have to set priorities in that way. What you would say, Cesar?
Yeah, I would say the same. You need to set priorities, and the priorities are your for you to, there was a question before for you to don't burn out, don't let it happen. But again, you have to trust other people. You have to trust, once again, if you are in a mature corporation, trust HR. If it's not your manager that who is causing you problems, talk to your manager, keep insisting, open a front, open a fight. But if there is no solution, nothing better than find another place. Find another place. Because corporations, I know they go, we help them to succeed, but people will always stay. And we have, in the end of the day, you have to stick with people you deal well, with people you trust, with people that as well give some add value to your life. There is no reason to keep insisting something different.
Absolutely. And guys, first of all, thank you very much for answering questions. We'll definitely read and go through your feedback. And we are Cesar. I don't know. Believe it or not, we have talked for an hour and a half already.
Oh my
And
God! Oh my God! People are tired of us already.
time really flew, and you were amazing. I think that we all have learned from you a lot. You gave some wonderful perspectives, and I think I will definitely watch our recordings again.
I'm afraid of that already.
You will have, of course, you will get your own copy.
Okay, thank you.
Guys, I thought I hope that you enjoyed and learned a lot from Cesar. Cesar, thank you so much once again.
Marco, was my pleasure, and to all colleagues that joined, was really honored to be with all of you. I hope we could exchange, we could understand a bit, and I could share a bit as well about my experience. And yeah, we always can learn from each other. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. And guys from the world, we are waving to you. We are not hugging because it's that time.
We have a social distance.
We have a social distance, but thank you so much, and thank you everyone on Facebook who follow us and on Click Meeting, and have a good day and see you. Thank you very much, Cesar, once again. Bye bye.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Bye bye. Thank you.